The stars glittered silently above Earth, uncaring witnesses to the planet's secret preparations. For nearly 40 years, humanity had known they were not alone. It began with the detection of an unusual vessel at the edge of the solar system in 2117. The object moved unlike any natural phenomenon, adjusting course and scanning planets methodically before vanishing back into deep space. Most governments kept this knowledge classified. Only a select group of military and scientific leaders received the full briefing. Aliens had found Earth and they would return. The question was when. Admiral Kim Tae-ho remembered that day clearly. He had been a young lieutenant then, assigned to a seemingly ordinary monitoring station in the Korean peninsula. When the alert came through, he thought it was another drill. It wasn't until the station chief's hands shook while entering his authentication codes that Kim realized something unprecedented was happening. If they can cross between stars, the chief had said, imagine what their weapons can do. That night changed everything. Within months, secret diplomatic channels opened between former adversaries. Resources once dedicated to fighting each other were redirected. The public remained unaware as underground facilities were constructed beneath mountains, oceans, and deserts. By 2130, humanity's first truly unified effort was underway. The Mars colony, publicly celebrated as a triumph of scientific exploration, secretly housed the largest shipyard ever built. Civilian space mining operations doubled as cover for extracting materials needed for the fleet. Fusion research accelerated, disguised as clean energy initiatives. We can't match their technology, Kim often reminded the other program leaders during their quarterly meetings. But we can surprise them. Kim rose through the ranks as the program expanded. By 2142, he oversaw the entire defense initiative. No one knew alien psychology or intentions, so humanity prepared for the worst while hoping for peace. The breakthrough came in 2144 when one of the alien scout ships malfunctioned in the Kuiper Belt. Earth's stealth recovery team brought back fragments of technology that revealed something remarkable. The alien systems weren't as advanced as feared. Their advantage was primarily in propulsion technology. Their weapons, shields, and communication systems showed exploitable weaknesses. They're complacent, Lee Ju-won, chief engineer, observed as she examined the recovered technology. Their designs haven't changed significantly in centuries. They've forgotten how to innovate. Those fragments revolutionized Earth's strategy. Instead of trying to match alien firepower directly, they developed ships specifically designed to counter the invaders' weaknesses, stealth vessels that could evade detection, communication jammers that could isolate enemy ships from each other, specialized weapons that could penetrate their shielding frequencies. The abandoned mines of the moon became assembly plants. Asteroids were hollowed out as hidden bases. Meanwhile, visible Earth technology remained deliberately outdated. Military satellites maintained obsolete designs. Consumer technology advanced at a measured pace. Everything to maintain the illusion of a divided, relatively primitive civilization, not yet ready for the galactic stage. By 2155, Admiral Kim commanded a fleet of 700 ships, hidden throughout the solar system. President Park Ji-won oversaw the civilian government and maintained the global deception. Together, they had created the greatest military secret in human history. Our only advantage is surprise, Kim told his ship captains during their final briefing. Once revealed, we must act decisively. When alien long-range sensors detected approaching vessels in early 2157, humanity was ready. While politicians prepared to play the role of an odd, primitive species, military personnel quietly moved to battle stations hidden from sky-facing observers. The alien vanguard entered Earth orbit on March 15, 2157. 20 massive warships, each capable of destroying a major city. They broadcast their message in perfect English, demanding Earth's leaders meet to discuss integration into the galactic community. As diplomatic teams led by Han Min-soo engaged with the aliens, learning their customs and protocols, Admiral Kim finalized deployment orders. The aliens followed predictable patterns, the same approach they had used on countless worlds before. They established orbit in standard formation, They requested Earth representatives aboard their command vessel. They allowed the customary deliberation period. They never thought to look for ships hiding behind Earth's moon, within hollowed asteroids, or inside gas giant rings. They never suspected that the primitive spacecraft they observed were just decoys, while Earth's true fleet remained invisible to their sensors. 3 days after first contact, Admiral Kim received the message he had prepared for his entire career. Diplomatic options exhausted. Invaders preparing weapon systems. He took a deep breath and issued the order 40 years in the making. All ships commence Operation Revelation. The hegemony flagship Eternal Dominion hung above Earth like a metallic cloud. Its surface gleamed with strange lights that pulsed in patterns no human engineer could understand. At least, that's what Commander Bayek Sunwoo believed as he watched President Park and her small delegation approach his ship in their primitive shuttle. Their propulsion system still uses chemical rockets, Beck remarked to his second-in-command. I doubt they've even mastered basic gravity manipulation. The hegemony had conquered thousands of worlds across the galaxy. Earth would be no different. The routine was always the same. Show overwhelming power, offer terms of surrender disguised as friendship, and slowly drain the planet of resources while keeping its population docile. President Park Ji-won stepped onto the hegemony vessel with practiced uncertainty. Her eyes widened at the appropriate moments. She gasped when shown the view of Earth from the observation deck. Her hands trembled slightly when Commander Bayek demonstrated a small fraction of their weapons capability by vaporizing an abandoned satellite. Your world has much to offer the galactic hegemony, Beck said through his translator. And we have much to offer you. Medicine that can cure your diseases, energy technology beyond your understanding, protection from the many dangers that exist among the stars. We are honored by your interest in our humble planet, President Park replied, bowing her head. Behind her calm exterior, she counted seconds, mapping the ship's layout and noting the positions of guard stations. Every word, every gesture was being recorded and analyzed by hidden sensors in her diplomatic badges. Of course, integration requires certain adjustments, Commander Beck continued. A modest resource contribution, acceptance of our governance structure. Nothing too burdensome for a species at your development stage. The meeting lasted 6 hours. President Park asked elementary questions about the hegemony. How many worlds did they control? What benefits did Earth stand to gain? She appeared overwhelmed by the answers, requesting time for her government to discuss these momentous developments. 3 of your planetary rotations should be sufficient, Commander Beck said magnanimously, though I must inform you that rejection of our offer would be unwise. Others have tried to maintain independence. None have succeeded. The Earth delegation returned to their shuttle, their expressions appropriately solemn and concerned. Once the airlock sealed, President Park's demeanor changed instantly. Her back straightened. The uncertainty vanished from her eyes. Did you get everything? She asked her technical advisor. Every detail, Madam President. Their shield frequencies, communication protocols, weapon recharge rates. They didn't even bother to scan our delegation thoroughly. Their technology detected no weapons, so they assumed we were harmless. As their shuttle descended toward Earth, Commander Bayek watched. From his observation deck, these humans seemed typical of pre-space civilizations, awed by superior technology, divided in their planetary governance, and unable to comprehend the true nature of the galaxy. Their military capabilities were laughable. A few orbital platforms, primitive fighter aircraft, missiles that could barely reach their own moon. He had conquered 46 worlds personally. Earth would be his 47th. Back on Earth, the real preparations began. President Park met with Admiral Kim in the underground command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. The facility, built inside a dormant volcano, housed Earth's true military headquarters, a structure undetectable to hegemony scanners. They're exactly as our intelligence suggested, Park reported. Arrogant, complacent. They've used the same conquest pattern for so long they can't imagine anyone could counter it. Admiral Kim nodded as he reviewed the data collected from the diplomatic mission. Their defensive systems are even more vulnerable than we thought. And look at this. Their ships use a centralized command structure. If we can isolate the flagship's communications, the rest will be disorganized. For the next 2 days, Earth maintained the charade. News broadcasts showed human governments arguing over how to respond to the alien ultimatum. Religious leaders called for prayer. Civilians appeared to panic, stockpiling supplies. Military forces moved in predictable defensive patterns that any advanced species would expect. Meanwhile, Earth's hidden fleet moved into position. Ship captains received their final orders. Weapons were calibrated to the exact specifications needed to penetrate hegemony shields. EMP devices were tuned to the frequency of their communication systems. On the morning of the 3rd day, Commander Bayek received the expected message from Earth, a request for more time to consider the hegemony's generous offer. He smiled at the transparent stalling tactic. All conquered species tried the same approach, hoping for divine intervention or a miracle. None ever came. Prepare targeting solutions for their major military installations, he ordered. When they realize we've begun the attack, they'll accept our terms immediately. As his crew programmed the bombardment sequence, Commander Bayek looked down at the blue planet. Such a shame these humans couldn't see the futility of resistance. They would learn, as all species eventually did, that the hegemony always won. He had no idea that Earth had been preparing for this moment for decades, or that humanity's greatest strength was making enemies see exactly what they expected to see. The countdown reached 0 on Admiral Kim's display. Around him in the command center, officers worked with quiet efficiency. No one spoke unnecessarily. Each person had trained for this moment for years. All ships report ready, Admiral, his communications officer said. Kim nodded. Begin Operation Revelation. Across the solar system, hidden doors opened. On the far side of the moon, massive hangar bays revealed themselves as sections of lunar surface slid apart. Within the rings of Saturn, what appeared to be ordinary ice fragments suddenly ignited propulsion systems. Beneath Earth's oceans, water parted as sleek vessels rose from secret underwater bases. Aboard the Hegemony flagship, Commander Bayek was reviewing the final bombardment patterns when an officer interrupted him. Sir, our sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures. Bayek frowned. From where? Everywhere, sir. They're ships. Hundreds of them. Impossible, Bayek snapped. Human technology can't. The ship shuddered as its main communications array suddenly went offline. Emergency lights flashed across the bridge. On every Hegemony vessel, screens flickered and displayed the same image. Captain Choi Yun-ha of the Earth Defense Fleet. Her uniform was unlike anything the Hegemony had observed from Earth before. Sleek, functional, with insignia that had never been seen in public. Attention, Hegemony forces. This is Captain Choi of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your vessels are now surrounded. Your communications have been isolated. Your weapons systems are targeted. You have 30 minutes to power down your engines and surrender. Commander Beck stared at the screen in disbelief. Override this transmission, he ordered. His communications officer tried frantically, but nothing happened. Sir, his sensor officer called out, voice shaking. I'm counting over 700 vessels. They've encircled our entire fleet. Outside the viewports, space seemed to shimmer as Earth ships deactivated their stealth systems. They were unlike any human craft the Hegemony had observed. Elegant, advanced, and clearly built for war. Their hulls bore no national flags, only the unified emblem of Earth. How did they hide these? Bake demanded. Where did they come from? The answer came from Captain Choi, whose transmission continued uninterrupted. For 40 years we have watched you. For 40 years we have prepared. When your scout ships crash-landed, we studied your technology. When your probes scanned our cities, we fed them carefully crafted data. Everything you think you know about Earth is what we wanted you to see. Beck ordered his weapons officer to target the nearest Earth vessel. The officer tried, but the targeting systems couldn't lock on. Their hulls are absorbing our scanner frequencies, the officer reported. I can't get a stable lock. On a smaller Hegemony vessel, panic was setting in. The captain ordered all weapons to fire randomly at the surrounding Earth ships. Energy beams lanced out and passed harmlessly through the Earth vessel's shields. Inside her command ship, Captain Choi watched the futile attack with calm eyes. "Return fire," she ordered. "Targeted demonstration only." A single Earth destroyer fired its main weapon. The beam struck the hegemony vessel's shield and passed through it as if it weren't there. The beam precisely severed the ship's main weapon array, leaving the rest of the vessel intact. Throughout the hegemony fleet, similar precision strikes disabled weapon systems while leaving life support untouched. Ship after ship found itself defenseless in minutes. 25 minutes remaining to surrender, Captain Choi's voice reminded them. In the Earth Command Center, Admiral Kim watched the operation unfold on the main tactical display. Everything was going according to plan. Years of studying hegemony, technology had revealed that their shields worked on predictable frequency patterns. Earth weapons had been designed to synchronize with those patterns, rendering their defenses useless. "Sir," his aide reported, 15 hegemony vessels have been neutralized. 5 remain operational, including the flagship. Commander Bayek refused to accept defeat. He ordered his remaining functional ships to form a defensive perimeter around the flagship. "Prepare for lightspeed jump," he commanded. "Sir, the engines aren't responding," his chief engineer reported. "Something's interfering with the drive controls." Outside, Earth ships continued their methodical approach. Their formation was unlike anything in the hegemony tactical database, unpredictable, adaptive, with no clear command vessel to target. President Park watched the battle from her secure bunker. Besides her, Minister Han Min-soo prepared the diplomatic messages that would soon be broadcast to the galaxy. Everything was proceeding as they had planned for decades. 20 minutes to surrender, Captain Choi announced. On the hegemony flagship, Commander Baek received an unexpected transmission, this one private, directed only to him. It showed detailed schematics of the hegemony's defense systems, complete with analysis of their weaknesses. Following this were deployment maps of every hegemony fleet in the galaxy, with Earth's planned countermeasures for each one. "This is impossible," Beck whispered. "How could they know all this?" Captain Choi's voice answered him. "We've had 40 years to prepare, Commander. We built this fleet for one purpose, to show the galaxy that Earth will not be conquered. Not today, not ever." As the realization of defeat settled over him, Commander Bayek looked out at the Earth ships surrounding his crippled fleet and finally understood his error. The hegemony had mistaken patience for weakness, preparation for primitiveness, and caution for fear. 15 minutes remaining, Captain Choi reminded him. "What will your answer be?" The vast emptiness of space trembled, with tension as humanity's final defensive line prepared for the most critical battle in Earth's history. The Sol system, humanity's last stronghold, was about to face the most devastating alien invasion ever recorded. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the flagship Titan, her weathered hands gripping the command console. Her eyes scanned the holographic displays showing thousands of human warships positioned strategically around the inner planets. Behind her, veteran commanders and young cadets alike held their breath, knowing everything depended on this moment. The alien Zorax fleet emerged from hyperspace like a dark wave of metallic nightmares. Hundreds of massive ships, each larger than entire human cities, positioned themselves in a perfect combat formation. Their technology was centuries beyond human understanding. Sleek, silent, and seemingly invincible. Captain Marcus Chen of the battlecruiser Defiance triggered the first volley. Plasma torpedoes erupted from human ships, creating brilliant arcs of destructive energy that sliced through the initial alien defensive screens. For a moment, hope flickered in human hearts. But the Zorax responded with terrifying precision. Quantum disruptors carved through human vessels like cutting butter, vaporizing entire squadrons in seconds. Ships exploded in silent, beautiful yet horrifying bursts of light, their crews vanishing instantly. Elena knew humanity's survival depended on strategy, not raw power. She ordered a complex maneuver that would exploit the smallest weakness in the alien formation. Smaller human ships darted between massive enemy vessels, unleashing concentrated electromagnetic pulses designed to temporarily disable alien systems. The battle raged across millions of kilometers. Debris from destroyed ships created deadly obstacle fields. Young pilots performed impossible maneuvers, sacrificing themselves to protect critical human positions. Every second counted. Marcus's ship took critical damage. With most of his crew wounded, he made a desperate decision. He would ram his vessel directly into the primary Zorax command ship, a suicide mission that might turn the tide of battle. As his ship accelerated, quantum weapons tore through its hull. Marcus saw the alien command vessel growing larger in his view screen. He thought of Earth, of his family, of everything humanity represented. With a final, quiet prayer, he pushed forward. The collision created a massive energy wave that momentarily disrupted the entire alien fleet. Hundreds of Zorax ships lost power, drifting helplessly. Elena seized the opportunity, ordering every remaining human vessel to concentrate fire on the vulnerable targets. Hours of brutal combat reduced both sides to smoking wreckage. The Sol system became a graveyard of technological marvels, a testament to two species' determination to survive. Human ships fought with a combination of desperation and calculated skill, knowing retreat was impossible. As solar winds carried burning debris, the remaining human vessels made their last stand. Every weapon, every strategy, every ounce of human courage was committed to this singular moment of survival. The Zorax, despite their technological superiority, had not anticipated human unpredictability. Where alien calculations suggested certain defeat, human spirit introduced chaos and unexpected resistance. Elena watched her tactical displays, knowing that win or lose, this battle would be remembered forever. Humanity had brought everything it possessed to this moment, not just weapons and ships, but hope, determination, and an unbreakable will to exist. In the cold silence between explosive bursts, something extraordinary happened. Human creativity and courage began to overcome alien technological supremacy. Small victories accumulated, turning the seemingly impossible into a potential triumph. The battle for Sul was more than a military engagement. It represented humanity's final argument against extinction, a defiant statement that they would not vanish quietly into the cosmic darkness. As emergency systems flickered and damaged ships drifted, the outcome remained uncertain. But in that moment of ultimate challenge, human beings showed they would fight to the very last breath, to the final ship, to the ultimate sacrifice. The universe watched and waited, holding its breath. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, a profound shift was brewing. The Galactic Council, once a fragmented collection of star systems, now stood on the brink of a revolutionary transformation. Admiral Elena Volkov, a seasoned strategist from the Earth Alliance, had been working tirelessly to unite disparate planetary governments under a single cohesive framework. The universe had grown weary of constant conflicts. Decades of resource wars, territorial disputes, and technological rivalries had left deep scars across multiple solar systems. Elena understood that survival depended on cooperation, not competition. Her diplomatic mission began on the cold, metallic conference platform orbiting Proxima Centauri. Representatives from over 50 star systems gathered, their holographic projections flickering with tension and uncertainty. Some wore elaborate ceremonial robes, while others appeared in sleek, minimalist diplomatic uniforms. The core of Elena's proposal was simple, yet radical. A unified galactic governance model that would redistribute resources, share advanced technologies, and create a collective defense strategy. She knew the challenges were immense. Each civilization had its own complex history, unique cultural traditions, and deeply entrenched political structures. During her presentation, Elena displayed holographic maps showing potential trade routes, collaborative scientific research, zones, and integrated defense networks. Her passion was evident in every gesture, every carefully chosen word. She spoke of a future where exploration and mutual understanding would replace conflict and isolation. The Zeta Reticuli delegation, known for their advanced quantum communication technologies, seemed initially skeptical. Their representative, A tall, translucent being named Krell listened intently. His species had long been isolated, preferring scientific research to interstellar interactions. Unexpected support came from the Orion Confederation, a militaristic alliance that had previously been viewed as aggressive. Their lead ambassador, General Marcus Rodriguez, surprisingly endorsed Elena's vision. "Continuous war benefits no one," he declared, his voice echoing through the conference chamber. Behind the scenes, complex negotiations continued. Each civilization wanted guarantees, assurances, and protections. Elena worked tirelessly, moving between delegation groups, listening, persuading, and finding common ground. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A young scientist from the Europa moon colony presented data showing how collaborative research could solve critical challenges like sustainable energy production and interstellar travel. Her presentation demonstrated that united scientific efforts could achieve what individual systems could not. Slowly, hesitation transformed into cautious optimism. Delegates began discussing implementation details, drafting preliminary agreements, and imagining a shared future. The atmosphere shifted from defensive positioning to collaborative problem-solving. Elena understood this was just the beginning. Creating a new galactic order would require sustained commitment, patience, and continuous dialogue. Old suspicions would not disappear overnight. Trust would need to be built, step by careful step. As the conference entered its final day, a preliminary framework emerged. It wasn't perfect, but it represented something unprecedented, a genuine attempt at comprehensive multi-species cooperation. The Galactic Collaborative Charter, as it became known, outlined principles of mutual respect, technological exchange, and collective security. The most remarkable aspect was not the political agreement itself, but the human connections being formed. Scientists from different star systems exchanged contact information. Diplomats who had previously seen each other as potential enemies now shared meals and personal stories. When the final signatures were recorded, a collective sense of hope permeated the conference platform. Something fundamental had changed. The universe suddenly felt smaller, more interconnected, and filled with potential. Elena Volkov watched the proceedings with a mixture of exhaustion and quiet triumph. She knew the real work was just beginning. Implementing this vision would require dedication, compromise, and a belief in collective potential that transcended individual planetary interests. As the delegates prepared to return to their home worlds, a new chapter in galactic history had been written. The old order was fading, and a more collaborative, interconnected future was emerging. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, witnessing this moment of profound transformation.